You're listening to the Swain Event.
You don't say.
Fueled by Dead End Barbecue.
Deep down the middle's got his man, and he's gone. Jason Swain, touchdown.
It's time for the Swain Event with your host, Jason Swain.
My man.
Real sports talk for the real sports fan.
All you chumps are gonna bow when I whoop him.
It's time for the Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue.
Get into his mouth and a Ric Flair.
20event.com, fueled by Dead End Barbecue, top 100 barbecue restaurant in America. I am Jason Swain, live from the Low T Center Studio. Joining us here shortly will be Ben McKee, Go Ball 247. What a day to be a ball. What a week to be a ball. What a year to be a ball. Hey, what a decade to be a ball. It is the decade of volunteers. Last night was more proof. The awesome parade for 2024 national champion, College World Series national champion. Further proof. 865-255-03 is our telephone number to Swain Event Hotline. A couple ways you can interact with us during the show. You can give us a call right there on your free Swain Event app. Just hit the call function or the Beatty Chevrolet text box. Send in comments, send in questions. Really easy. Also part of your free Swain Event app. If you miss any part of the program, you can always go back and check out the Swain Event podcast on demand wherever you get your podcast. That is also because of Beatty Chevrolet and BeattyChevrolet.com. Wow. Last night, another good night for the Tennessee Volunteer Program. Last night, further proof that Tennessee is on a roll. The athletic program is humming at warp speed, Mach speed. Dog Connects selected in the NBA draft. You have to excuse Ben McKee. He's still recovering from last night's draft because his Memphis Grizzlies picked Zach Edey. Titans fans, you wanted Hendon Hooker, you got Will Levis. Will Levis may turn out to be a better professional quarterback than Hendon Hooker anyways, who is now the starter. Tennessee fans who are also Memphis Grizzlies fans, you got Zach Edey. So you got to excuse Ben. He's recovering. But it's been rough. It's been rough for old Ben McKee. Those Memphis Grizzlies. So, oh, there he is. There's Ben McKee. Don Connect picked 17th, which was a big surprise for all of us. But, man, the Lakers, who really is the only team that I saw, Benjamin, grade out of A+. Don Connect fell right into their lap. Someone who can shoot, someone who can penetrate. He's a tall wing player. He's a gym rat. It all worked out, man. Sometimes you don't get what you want. Sometimes you get what you need. And Don Connect got what he needed. And that was to be in a position where they can win right now. He has the opportunity to learn from LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And game recognizes game. Because J.J. Redick was a bad dude at Duke. when he played, was the best shooter in the country, him and Chris Lofton. Well, Don Connect, one of the best shooters in the country. So to get picked by J.J. Redick in that Laker organization, the same gentleman, Rob Pelinka, who's a GM, was Kobe Bryant's agent. You got picked by Rob Pelinka and J.J. Redick if you are Dark Connect. That's amazing, man. That is amazing. So, well, I guess I got to rep that gold and purple now because I'm a Dark Connect fan. Man, you ready to rock with the Lakers a little bit? Just a little bit?
Yeah, I'll rock with the Lakers a little bit. I'm a huge Dalton Connect fan, so obviously I'll be happy to root for him, and I hope that he has success, even against the games against the Grizzlies. I hope he has success. I hope the Lakers don't win that game when they do play the Grizzlies, but I'll rock with the Lakers. I typically I don't feel the way about the Lakers that most people do. I'm not saying that I've ever been like a huge fan of them, but Shaquille O'Neal is one of my favorite athletes of all time. And when I was first becoming aware as a young kid about basketball, football, and baseball, and about the best athletes, best players in each sport, Shaquille O'Neal was one of my favorite athletes as a kid when I first started getting into sports. And he was with the Lakers at the time, and we were 2 hours. My dad was stationed 2 hours east of L.A. So we went to a Clippers game, and I remember walking through Staples Center at the time, and they had one of Shaq's big old shoes outside, like in a trophy box of sorts. And I just remember being fascinated by that and some other Shaq stuff around there. I say all that to say, like, I've never disliked the Lakers because of that and whatnot. So I'll root for them. I know people feel a certain type of way towards LeBron James, most of it over the top because of political beliefs, and God forbid somebody have a different political belief than you. So you feel a certain type of way about somebody for those reasons rather than the person he is at heart and what he's accomplished on the basketball floor. Unfortunately, we as a society cannot separate the two. And I am not one who cares about politics at all. I'm not saying that I agree with LeBron's political stuff when I say that. I just think we have a societal issue. Much like Greg McElroy thinks that there's issues in society, I think we have an issue in society of not being able to separate politics from the person that you are at heart. So that's the only thing that I'm trying to get across there. So I will root for the Lakers. A long-winded way of saying that I will root for the Lakers and Dalton mostly, as long as they're not playing my Memphis Grizzlies.
Well, you brought it up. I know Vol Nation has had some strong emotions over the last 72 hours, celebrating a national championship with this baseball team, the parade that was awesome. Fortunately, being you was on your way back and didn't get a chance to attend. I do want to know from the people that were in attendance the parade. It looked hot. It looked hot as all get out, but it looked amazing. Man, share with us your experience. Did you get your chest signed by Tony Vitello too? Let us know. Get a chance to high five any of the players. Did you have good seats? Your favorite part of the program? John Wilkerson did a great job emceeing the event. Stir the Pearl, energetic as always, setting the tone. Tony Vitello, man, love that dude. And this is before he won a championship, man. If you've interacted with Tony Vitello, like Ben and I have had the luxury to do, you knew he was going to win a championship at some point. How many times have been on this program said he's going to win a championship? It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Like you knew he was going to win a championship, and glad he was able to win it this week. So let us know, your experience with the parade. I caught wind of Greg McElroy's comments and listened to it, and immediately I felt bad for my good friend Cole Cuba because he was put in a real bad spot. And if you ever been on the team, if you haven't been on the team, you probably wouldn't understand what Cole was going through. Because there's moments where you don't throw your teammate under the bus. You try to help guide your teammate, but you don't throw them under the bus. And I think those are one of those times. Ben, you've been doing radio for a while. I've been doing radio for a while, and there's been times, not so much lately, but there was a stretch, Benjamin, where you were sharing the show with someone, and they would say something really stupid. And it was so stupid that you were embarrassed that you would be lumped in. And you would be like, yeah, that's not how I feel, but hey, that's how you feel. Okay, you didn't want to crush the person. And you really couldn't believe they had this bad of a take. But you didn't want to crush them. Well, that was what happened with Greg McElroy and Cole Kubelik. Awesome cut, by the way. And yeah, you keep drinking your drink over there. And when Greg said what he said, again, I felt bad for Cole. For those who don't know, basically called Tony Vitello's celebration classes. Said the baseball program is a hard program to root for. And I was like, yo, I understand saying this 2 years ago when some of the things that were going on. I just feel like this was a little harsh. I was like, what did he do in the post-game celebration besides the wrestling, what they call that, the Generation X? Like, I didn't understand what the problem was. Was it that he ran into the crowd? I didn't get it. I thought it was really over the top with the criticism. And I started getting text messages from people who were like, oh, man, Cole and Greg. And I was like, Cole didn't say anything. Cole was trying to divert the conversation. He was trying to downplay it. He was trying to help his teammate. Like, he was trying to help Greg. Like, hey, oh, man. Like, he kind of laughed it off. And people lump Cole in the same boat, which I totally disagree with. And then the next day, which was yesterday, Greg decided to apologize. And he cited some personal reasons, personal things he's going through, and some disappointments that he has with the way society is going, and he took those out on Tony Vitello. And I appreciate the apology. I accept the apology, and I hope Greg is handling things that are bothering him and that he gets better. Man, if you don't want to show empathy, that's cool. You don't have to, but don't be putting those Bible verses in your profiles either. And don't be out here, throwing Bible verses in other people's face if you're not willing to forgive people for making a human mistake, is all I would say. We all have personal things going on that's aside from work, and sometimes those bleed over. You try not to let them bleed over, but we're human, and it happens. And so it happened with Greg, and I'm glad he apologized. But anyways, moving on. Ben, where now? If you are, Tennessee baseball, you got a lot of your start lineup that's going to be leaving. Half of Texas A&M starting lineup left yesterday, hit the portal, even though it still opens it up for those guys to return. If you're Tennessee, who you looking at? Who would you like to make a swing at? Who do you think Tennessee has a legitimate chance of making contact with and possibly getting? There's a lot of really good programs out there, even though Tennessee just won a national championship. You got LSU that's in the mix already, what seems to be with Jace Laviolette. You got other programs. I'm sure they'll be making their bids. Tony Vitello was public with not having a handout. Well, I don't assume we're going to get these really good players for free, because Tennessee was kind of late to the transfer portal party because we were competing for a national championship. So how do you handle that?
Well, it's interesting, and Tennessee is doing its due diligence on all the Texas A&M players that elected to enter the transfer portal yesterday. Obviously, the headliners were Jay Laviolette and Gavin Verhoevac, and I did hear through the waiver wire, rumor wire, whatever you want to call it. I heard on the streets that they would have interest in Tennessee. So I think that Tennessee should at least, at minimum, be able to get their foot in the door. Which I mean, I think that's stating the obvious. Why would you not have interest in, in Tennessee as one of the best players in the country right now? But I've also heard that it's going to be difficult for any team to overcome what Texas and Jim Schlossnagle is going to try and throw at them NIL wise. And ultimately, it'll boil down to whether Grahovac and Laviolette, how much weight they put on the NIL. If that's all they're looking for, then they're probably going to Texas, because I think that Texas is at a point with Schloss where it's like, give these players a blank check, let them fill out the number, and they're good to go. So if those players decide that the end all be all is NIL and that's all that they care about and whatnot, which I don't know why those two guys would only care about the NIL, because they're going to get drafted and get paid at some point regardless. So I don't think it's as much of an emphasis for them to make sure that they get their money now, because there's going to be money on the back end for them as they get to the next level, especially if they continue to develop at the rate that they are. They will be well compensated by the time their MLB draft rolls around. So I believe that Tennessee is going to be able to get their foot in the door with them. I know that Tennessee was checking in yesterday as those guys officially entered the transfer portal and officially popped up in the portal. But I think for those guys, it is going to boil down to how much emphasis are they going to put on the NIL game.
The photo before the start of the College World Series between Jim Schlossnagle and Tony Vitello makes all the sense in the world now when you look at it. Schlossnagle had a half smile. Tony Vitello was not smiling at all. Tony Vitello looked uncomfortable, even standing next to Jim Schlossnagle.
Well, the more telling sign, Swaino, is when because the A&M media was trying to get Tony, not like in a bad way, but because they don't know, but they were trying to like ask Tony about his relationship with Jim Schlossnagle when they worked together at TCU, and I think he was asked directly. I'm paraphrasing, but hey, what was it like to work with Schlossnagle? And he talked for 2 minutes and did not mention Jim Schlossnagle once. He talked about Randy Mazey, who just retired as the West Virginia coach after a terrific run at West Virginia. He talked about Randy Mazey the entire time, who he was working with, Randy, at TCU as an assistant coach. That's who he talked about for 2 minutes, and that was no coincidence whatsoever. I'll just leave it at, like, Tony just does not mess with Schlossnagle, and I think you've seen some things A&M writers correctly writing, like, this is Jim Schlossnagle showing his true colors. This is how a lot of people in the industry feel about Schlossnagle. Like, this is no surprise to everything that has transpired with Jim Schlossnagle. And I what I believe is him showing a lack of character, quite frankly. That's my opinion on the situation. That's an opinion that's been shared throughout the college baseball world for quite some time now, and I think it's coming to light with how he has handled this transition from A&M to Texas. So it's no surprise to those in and around college baseball.
You know, the thing about the game of baseball being it's supposed to be the gentleman's game, right? It's the game that you teach your son about life. You use baseball to do that. It's about, you know, having class. You ain't supposed to cheer, show the opponent up. Well, you do things the right way. Like, I look at baseball, I look at golf, and put them in kind of the same category. You know, basketball is the slimy sport with AAU. Football, slimy with the payments that go to players and the sneakiness that transpires and all the low down and dirty moves that are made just to be able to win. Well, Schlossnagle, man, he really drug the whole game of baseball down with how he has conducted himself. To be honest, if you are one of those Texas A&M players, how can you go to Texas? Like, it ain't like you're going from poor to rich. A&M got money too. Like, A&M is loaded. So
and they've got money on the way. Anybody who has followed Kendall Rogers reporting, like they're pouring like $90 million to $100 million into a new stadium or a renovated stadium.
yeah,
They're pouring money left and right into the NIL fund. You are set up to have success at Texas A&M. Like Texas A&M is a big brand. The only difference between A&M and Texas is that it's not the state university. It's not quite as big of a brand as Texas. That's the only difference between the two. Both got money. I mean, it's as simple as that, and the players and coaches are going to benefit from that. So I'm with you. Like, why would you leave? You're going to be taken care of. You're not going to be able to come back to College Station, which that doesn't seem to matter in sports anymore. Everybody likes to say that there's no more loyalty in college athletics, and that's true. I also think that there's no loyalty in society nowadays in general, whether it's college sports, professional sports, or in the real world on a day-to-day basis. But at the end of the day, those guys, most of them, I did see a handful of guys, taking to Instagram and alluding to Schlossnagle being a traitor, quite frankly. And there's some tweets as well from players like insinuating that they're going to stay with Texas A&M and like shaming Schlossnagle on the way out the door. I think it's been the reaction from the players has been very interesting. I think that they are well aware of kind of what Schloss did, and I think they already kind of felt weird about him in the first place because he can be a bit prickly at times. So maybe more A&M guys are going to stick around than anticipated, but the big ones like Jay Slavielette, he was committed to LSU before he went to A&M. He followed Nolan Kane, one of the assistant coaches at A&M. He followed him from LSU to A&M, and now that guy is going to Texas. Kane is. So I'll be curious to see if Jace continues to follow him. But outside of those like top guys that we've already mentioned, and they had others enter the portal as well, but it seemed like there's at least a decent chunk of guys like coming out and saying, "Hey, I'm going to stick it out here, and I'm going to continue to be an Aggie."
well, that'd be good, man. Good for them. I mean, they have a really good team. All they need is a good coach, and the Aggies got plenty of money to attract a really good coach. Just don't be coming around here because you ain't getting Tony Vitello. He already told you no once. He'll tell you no again. When's the lifetime contract happening? Because that needs to happen. And here's my thing about that. I had a brief phone conversation with you about it. Remember when Coach Calipari got the lifetime contract at Kentucky? He had won one championship. He was dominating the recruiting ranks. He brought so much attention to Kentucky. Great personality. Media loves him. But you gave him a lifetime contract. And it looked awesome because it was the first school to do that in college basketball. I think since then, Bill Self has gotten one. But the optics just look great. Like, stability is going to be here. And why not do the same thing for Tony Vitello? I'm not trying to put pressure on Danny White here. I'm just saying, even if it's not a lifetime contract, do a lifetime contract. Make it look like a lifetime contract. For a coach that flipped this program in a positive way. Coach Calipari didn't inherit a program that has never won a championship. They've always been able to recruit. Always. Tony Vitello took a program that's never won a championship, that was one of the worst stadiums in the league, totally flipped the entire culture, totally flipped the entire culture from the athletic program to the community, everything. He's young. You want to make a splash? I know we do a really good job with marketing, everything in school, Knoxville, America's sports town. Dude, lifetime contract for the coach who won you a national championship. I think that would be awesome. And listen, protect yourself with some outs. Tony Vitello gets in trouble, acts a fool, does something he's supposed to do. Okay, you have your out. But as long as he is taking care of business, which no reason to believe that he wouldn't do that. He's been doing it since he's been here. But you have to protect yourself too. It's business. Why not do a lifetime contract? That's all I'm saying. All right, let's get to the phones. 865-255-03. Good morning. Who do we have with us?
Hey, it's me. It's me.
What's up, Turkey Man?
Hey, buddy. Hey, Ben, you did a great job day one. I appreciate you, buddy.
Are you saying he did a good job day one and he sucked ever since, or you calling him day one?
From day one, he's done a good job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Phrase it.
Well, I need to, I guess, apologize to you, Swain.
For what?
I do. And the reason being,
why?
I had a take on A&M's coach that I was caught off guard about, as when I called in to the other show. But I had seen all I'd seen is what was on the news there about it, about him, and he coached for several years at TCU and other places. I think it said that Tony had coached with him, and I seen a little interview with Swash that said that he'd been there, I think, like 2 or 3 times with Texas A&M, and he never won a championship. He said, "I'd like to win one," and I'm thinking, well, this is apparently a good guy. What I'm seeing here, this is where all this happened, and so I put him in the Mark Richt. I said, he's like Mark Richt, and boy was I wrong. And but all I've seen is what.
Yeah, he's no Mark Richt. Mark Richt's a good dude.
No, I see that, man.
Mm-hmm.
But what I had gathered information I had seen from the news source and what they were saying, I'm thinking, this guy's just like Mark Richt. Man, he ain't no Mark Richt.
Nope.
I got blindsided on that, but I apologize for even thinking that.
Yeah, you don't need to apologize to me. You can apologize to Mark Richt.
Yeah, if I could do it good, I would. ain't in a heartbeat. But anyhow, I'll let you go. I've been enjoying listening to you guys, and just keep on keeping on. And I'll talk to you later.
All right, Turkey Man. Good to hear from you, my friend. Thank you so much for the phone call. 865-255-03 is our telephone number. We'll take our first time out of the morning. 865-255-03. Tennessee football getting some recruits. Tennessee baseball looking for some recruits. You got the wagon circling. Current players just now wrapping up their college careers, players that played at Tennessee in the past and are now in the major leagues, all making their recruiting pitches for recruits either in high school or in the transfer portal. Hey, you want to come to Tennessee, you want to play for Tony Vitello, you want to be developed. I love it, man. 865-255-03, Swain Event, fueled by Daddy and Barbecue.
It is so good to be here with Charlie Pratt with Modern Woodman and MWA Financial Services. And Charlie, you have a passion for helping and working with East Tennesseans. Why is that?
Man, I was born and raised here in Knoxville. My family's owned a business here since the 1920s. I played football at Central High School and Maryville College. I'm just really proud to work in East Tennessee.
What are you the most proud of?
We do a really good job of meeting people where they're at on their financial journey. I've got clients that are just now starting out. I've got clients that are in the middle of saving and doing a great job. And I've got clients who have worked really hard their whole lives, and it's time for them to enjoy their retirement. It's my job to make sure their money lasts as long as they do in retirement and they're able to leave a legacy for their family.
So with that being said, what are the next steps?
Let's sit down and take a look at your financial plan. Give me a call, 865-919-6468.
Registered representative and investment advisor, representative offering securities and advisory services through NWA Financial Services, Inc., a wholly owned subsidiary of Modern Woodmen of America, member FINCRA, SIPC.
Dead End Barbecue has you covered when you need the food to be on point for your next event. Go to deadendbbq.com to learn more or call 865-414-9417. Dead End Barbecue, the catering search is over.
Here in Knoxville, we love it when a squirrel's in the checkerboards. But when there's a squirrel in our attic, that's all sides. When that happens, call Alpha Wildlife. They're Knoxville's veteran-owned and operated wildlife removal company. When unwanted critters put their feet up on your coffee table, call 865-224-6555. Let the Tennessee fans at Alpha Wildlife evict those unwanted tenants and set your home up with a winning defense to keep that wildlife where it belongs. That's Alpha Wildlife at 865-224-6555. They have locations in Nashville, Memphis, Chattanooga, and in parts of South Carolina. Check them out online at alphawildlife.com.
Fellas, it's a new year. Low T Center can make it a great one. If you've been feeling tired and grumpy, have noticed a lack of motivation and drive, you may have low T. Low testosterone levels can cause weight gain, loss of muscle mass, and so much more. I recommend Low T Center. It's where I get my levels tested. They make it quick and easy to get your levels checked, and it's only $25. And with their on-site lab, you'll get your results back in about 25 minutes. Go to lowtcenter.com now to book your appointment online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Just because you can't call in doesn't mean that you have to sit on the sideline. Impact the show with a text box. It's part of the free Swain Event app.
Eight 255-03, Swain Event hotline. Use the Beatty Chevrolet text box. Comments, questions, send them our way. Ben McKee will join us here shortly. So yesterday on Josh and Swain, we had a walk-on football player, Gus Hill, on with us, and we was doing a remote, and he was out and about. And before you start Googling his name, just hear me out. Why does it matter, Swain? Well, he was asked about the team. What's the vibe? I mean, he's still working out with the team. That's why I think walk-ons are important, because they do everything everybody else is doing. They have a pulse on what's going on. They know who's stepping up and who's working hard, who's not. You may not hear a walk-on's name during the course of a season, but we had this conversation with Gus Hill, who's from Tennessee, and he was asked about the impact of the baseball team winning a national championship. Because if I'm a Tennessee athlete and I just see Tennessee baseball team win a national championship, that's going to motivate me to want to do the same thing. And that's exactly what has happened with this Tennessee football team. I'm not going to sit here and say, like, oh, man, they wasn't thinking about a national championship until Tennessee baseball won one. That's not what I'm saying. But when a team wins a championship right there in front of your face and it happens, it just does something else to you. It just, I think, raises the sense of urgency, raises your sense of awareness. The small things become big things. Like, everything matters. And this team knows what they missed last year. This team knows. The conversation is not just about having a good season. The conversation is not about getting to the Orange Bowl. The conversation with this Tennessee football team, a lot of props goes to Dylan Sampson, because he's stepping up and being the type of leader that this football program needs. And quite frankly, they haven't had in a while. The conversation is about national championships. And it's not about national championship next year or let's build to it at some point. The national championship conversation is about doing it this year. Doing it this year. And I love it. I love it. The word culture is brought up so many times. Well, Tennessee baseball just took the culture to another level because of their championship. So, basketball-wise, oh, man, got to the Elite Eight. Now it's about taking the next step. That's Final Four. That's national championship. You got Chazanier out here shooting like Kevin Durant. And I encourage you to check out Josh and Swain later on today because Rick Barnes is going to join us on the program. But this baseball team got everybody wanting a championship inside the athletic program as far as the student athletes are concerned. And now it's football's turn. You heard Peyton Manning. You heard what he said. This is not it with baseball. Other sports are coming. You heard Danny White at the parade. We're not close to our potential. Rodney and Austell in the text box. I keep hearing about how Tony is a great recruiter. My question is, does the football team have such a person? The answer is no. Y'all, Tony Vitello is the best recruiter in college athletics. I've said this before on this program. I've been saying it for years. There's no Tony Vitello on the football. In the football recruiting office, on the staff, there's no Tony Vitello. I guess y'all expect me to lie and say, yeah, this. No. Excuse me. I can't lie. Y'all, Tony Vitello was recruiting top players to Tennessee with those facilities that we had, still working on, with a baseball program that never won. Y'all, he was out recruiting programs that have won multiple championships. Multiple championships. There's no shade towards the current football staff with recruiting, but I'm not going to lie. There's not a Tony Vitello on the football recruiting staff. No. The closest thing we had to that was Brian Niedermeyer. That was the closest. But no, we don't have that. And we know what Niedermeyer was up to. I'm not saying that that's what Tony's doing. I'm talking about from a personality standpoint and a results standpoint. We don't have that. I'm not going to lie about that. I think we have done a really good job at this point hitting the trenches. I think we took our recruiting efforts to another level. We're doing a good job, but let's not get silly here. Tony Vitello is the best recruiter in college athletics, period, regardless of sport. Regardless. Vaughn Birmingham, Ben says, I need A&M to go north to Kentucky and get their coach. Why? Ain't nobody scared of him. Why? Why you need that, Vaughn Birmingham? Tony Vitello is the SEC Coach of the Year. I don't care what anybody else says. He was National Coach of the Year. His record was better. He won the SEC. His team won the SEC. Regular season, tournament, won the national championship. There is no other SEC Coach of the Year besides Tony Vitello. That's silly. It was like when Rick Barnes won National Coach of the Year but didn't win the SEC Coach of the Year. That's silly. That don't make any sense to me. The president of the United States is also the president of Tennessee. It don't make any sense to say, well, I mean, he's the National Coach of the Year, but he ain't the SEC Coach of the Year. Huh? My bad, Ben. Go ahead.
Birmingham's up to something.
Why? Why do we need?
Tennessee doesn't need it.
Okay, that's what I'm reading. I need A&M to go south to Kentucky and get their coach. We've been beating his butt.
You know what? I think even with the word need in there, I think Vaughn Birmingham is right for saying what he did. Because here's my thinking. You eliminate. I am aware that Tony Vitello has been perfectly fine against Kentucky when I say this, but Kentucky is a Omaha caliber program.
Ben,
If he leaves, they're no longer an Omaha caliber program.
but then he'll be.
And that leads me to my next
Okay,
point.
go ahead, please.
To me, Nick Mingione, I think he is a really terrific coach, but he has a shtick. And I think that works at Kentucky. I don't think that works at Texas A&M. I think kind of everything that he is about, the way he goes about doing things, the small ball style of play, the quirkiness of the dugout, and the way they go about managing and things like that. Like, I think that only plays at a place like Kentucky. And Texas A&M is a national championship caliber program. I know they haven't won one, but like, it would not at all be surprising if within the next 3 to 5 years they did win one, even without Jim Schlossnagle, even after Schlossnagle leaving for Texas, because they got money for NIL and other resources. And I think everybody knows that the state of Texas, yes, it's loaded with football players. It's also loaded with baseball players. Like, you could absolutely win a national championship at A&M. It may not have the brand recognition of LSU, Florida, Texas as the schools that are considered the best jobs in the country, but it's not too far off. It's kind of a sleeping giant of sorts, much like Tennessee baseball was. And yeah, it took Tony Vitello to wake Tennessee baseball up, but Tennessee always had the resources to win a national championship at Tennessee in baseball. It just took the administration and the university to buy into the thought and recognizing the thought that they could, and it took a great personality like Tony Vitello to wake everybody up and allow them to realize it. So if Nick Mingione, if he leaves Kentucky, which would eliminate Kentucky as an Omaha caliber program, I would assume, and A&M hires somebody who is also a national championship program, and I would not think that Mingione would fit in at A&M, you don't have to worry about A&M. So it's like knocking out two birds with one stone. You ain't got to worry about A&M reaching its potential, and you're eliminating any threat with Kentucky, who has flirted with Omaha several times before finally getting there this past season. So I think it'd be a good thing for Tennessee, because A&M, I don't think that they'd be hiring the best coach that they possibly could, and you're eliminating the threat of Kentucky.
Here's my pushback, Ben. When you have the resources, when you naturally have the resources, you mentioned the in-state talent that Texas has, and then you have administration that is willing to pump money and resources into that and try to get a winner, more times than not, you're going to have the success. It's like Georgia football. Like, they always have recruits in Georgia, but when they finally realize, oh, let's build an indoor facility, because they didn't have one for a long time. Let's make our facilities better. Let's make them comparable with some of the other programs, in the league. When they decide to do that, they decide to, all right, Mark Richt, we love him, but we want more. You went out and got Kirby Smart. They started winning more. I think A&M, they can attract a really good baseball coach because they're going to pay a really good baseball coach. Now, I would think someone that's good of a coach as Mingione, he can adapt and play different styles of baseball. I don't know. We have yet to see that, I guess, at Kentucky. But if he goes there, I think they're still going to be good, man. I mean, they'll help him get good players. I think he'll still be really, really. I think they'll still be really good and still a threat in the SEC. Do you not think that?
With A&M?
Yeah. If they get a good coach and they pumping $90 million into the facilities, they're going to pay NIL. Like, they don't want to drop off the cliff. They were a couple plays away from winning a national championship a couple of days ago. I mean, I think they're going to make sure that they help their next hire maintain this level of success.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Mingione would be a good hire. I just don't think it would be a great hire, which is what A&M should make. And if I'm Tennessee, I would rather them make a good hire instead of a great hire, while also, again, eliminating one of your rivals.
Y'all just want Kentucky to bleed. You want them to cry and be in tears. That's what y'all want. That's what y'all want. I see what you're saying, Vaughn Birmingham. I am 100 times more okay with A&M being good than Kentucky. Well, Kentucky, I don't understand this, guys. Kentucky has had their best season in multiple sports, and we've beaten them in those years.
Does that change how much you hate them? No, it doesn't. That's all the explanation that you need. If Kentucky is 15-15 in basketball or 32-0 in national championships, are you going to hate them any less or any more? If Alabama football is 2-10 or 12-0 in the regular season, you're going to hate them more or less or exactly the same?
Yeah, I just don't have the same level of feeling toward any other program like I have Alabama. So this is probably not the best example for me.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've had this conversation a million times on the show about Tennessee's rivals. I think Kentucky's right there neck and neck with Alabama, very close to it at least. I would say, and maybe this. I mean, everybody has their own story.
I know.
And
people that live in Kentucky hate Kentucky more, and people that live in Florida hate Florida more. I get it.
I would say, just in turn, not looking at the individual sport, looking at the school as a whole, I think Tennessee fans hate Kentucky the second most behind Alabama.
I think that's fair. CJ and JC says, what's wrong with wanting Kentucky to be sad? Ain't nothing wrong with that. They're not sad right now because they can say, man, look at what we did. Look what we accomplished. We got to the College World Series, man. We haven't done that in forever, if ever. We hit these record heights. Like, they're at the Tennessee stage, like the first time we went to the College World Series under Tony Vitello. Like, we just in two different places. Vol fan says Michion seems like he would fit in with A&M's weird culture. You know what? That's probably what drove Schlossnagle out. Remember when Schlossnagle called out the A&M fans? Because you had A&M fans ripping on his own players during the game. And after the game, he called out A&M fan base. Did you see the A&M fan at the College World Series slapping his butt with the little cheer he was doing? I don't get all the stuff that they got going on, man. It's too much.
Maybe
it's too much.
It's truly cult like.
I could not be a coach down there.
Well, and I was gonna say, like, to play devil's advocate to my own point, like Nick Mingione is so quirky that maybe he would fit into the quirkiness in College Station a little bit better over there. I don't think Mingione is gonna leave. Well, he would absolutely leave Kentucky if A&M came calling. I know he really, really enjoys being at Kentucky, but if A&M came calling, you're not telling A&M no, unless you just simply do not want to mess up unless you're just completely comfortable where you are and you don't want to shake things up for you and your family. Totally understand that and respect that quite a bit. But like if you're just basing it off which is the better job, Nick Mingione would absolutely leave Kentucky for Texas A&M. Something else that I meant to bring up earlier when I was talking about how Schlossnagle was not viewed favorably across the college baseball landscape. This is my pure speculation, but you mentioned the handshake at the finals preview press conference last Friday. Tony made a comment about loyalty and was just talking about how important it is to be loyal and going on and on about loyalty. I do not believe that was a coincidence that he brought up the loyalty factor right before Jim Schlossnagle was coming in to the room to speak. And again, that is purely my speculation and reading between the tea leaves, reading between the lines. I don't believe that Tony was talking about loyalty and how important it is by coincidence. I think that was premeditated. My own personal belief. Well, I have no inside knowledge on whether it was or not, but
you've been around Tony a long time, so I think that's a pretty fair.
And
statement.
You see Kendall Rogers reporting of like, hey, this deal with Texas was done between the the Georgia series, which I believe was at the end of April and in between the NCAA tournament starting sometime in May. This was agreed upon, and there's rumor and speculation from former A&M players about Schlossnagle recruiting for Texas through burner phones, but yet Tony Vitello was labeled as the classless one for celebrating with friends, family, peers, players.
Let me drop this on you. So a couple of years ago, when Texas A&M was looking for a coach and they hired Jim Schlossnagle, they looked at Tony Vitello. And Tony Vitello is one that he doesn't want to talk about any contract stuff until after his season, period, point blank, because he wants to put all of his attention and energy into his players. He thinks they deserve that. That's unfair to be negotiating and his focus being somewhere else. It's probably why he did not get the Texas A&M job at that time. Well, Schlossnagle was negotiating a deal with a rival school during the middle of the season. That's the difference between Schlossnagle and Tony Vitello. That's the difference. That's the difference.
I don't know how, like, truly, Swain. Like, I know NIL is a thing, and Texas will just fork out money to make up for it. But if you were a recruit and you were doing what you're supposed to do and doing your homework, paying attention, doing your due diligence, and you watched all this play out, I know it's the University of Texas. I know NIL money is involved. But why would you sign up to play for Jim Schlossnagle? Why? Because he has truly shown his true colors the last couple of weeks. And if you're good enough to go to Texas, you're good enough to go to LSU or Florida or anybody in the SEC, Tennessee, Texas A&M. You can go somewhere that will equally take care of you both on the field and off the field as Texas. You will. If you are that level of player or transfer, why would you follow Jim Schlossnagle to Texas or go play for him, sign up to play for him, when you just watched him treat his current players like absolute crap, quite frankly? I mean, he knew the entire time he was going to Texas, coaching in the College World Series finals, and like how do you put your best foot forward in that situation? Like truly. And that, again, there's rumors about him recruiting off of burner phones for Texas while he's coaching you at Texas A&M. He doesn't care about the players. He only cares about himself. He's selfish. Like, why would you sign up to play for him? If my son was old enough and good enough to play for the University of Texas, I promise you he would not be going to play for Texas and play for Jim Schlossnagle, because that is not somebody that I want mentoring my son. And I'm not bringing up this next point because I cover Tennessee, but find me the coach that when he's recruiting somebody who comes from a single mother household like Xander Seacrest, he's checking in more often than he's not to make sure that that young man who may not have a father figure in his life or is lacking a father in his life for whatever reason, that coach is checking in more because he cares about that player as a person and as a young man more than he does the recruit aspect of things. That's you should be signing your kid up to be mentored and be developed as a man just as much as a player. And like, I don't know how as a parent you could sign off with Jim Schlossnagle doing that.
Kendrick said, "You're not a rap artist. You're a scam artist." Maybe he's talking about Schlossnagle too. 865-255-03. Back to the Beatty Chevrolet text box. Camden, Tennessee. What about Tony Vitello collecting dirt after the game and then sees his dad? Yeah, that was a cool moment. Him hugging it out with his pops. Mike in North Georgia says Georgia is most hated for me thanks to living here my entire life. Bama second. Oh, and blank Tim Tebow too. Golly, man. Love you guys. Neil Mafia is a bad influence.
Anybody in Florida is going to say Florida. Anybody in Georgia is going to say Georgia. Probably people in Mississippi going to say Mississippi State and Ole Miss.
Yeah. Clay says, I live in Lexington now, and the people up here hate Tennessee. I'm completely on board with wanting them to be bad at everything. I like the fact that they have hope, and then their hopes are dashed at the end of the season. Like, I don't know if I want Kentucky to be like Vanderbilt. They don't have any hope. Like, did y'all see Vanderbilt baseball Twitter account tweet out highlights from when they won a national championship? Y'all see that?
I did not.
Ben, you gotta go see it.
From this Vanderbilt baseball, they tweeted out championship highlights after Tennessee won.
Dude, it was sad.
How quickly?
June 25th. They tweeted out June 25th, 2004. What a night. And it's highlights from their championship season. Their championship run. After their in-state rivals just won a national championship.
I mean, it was their 10-year. I mean, that was 10 years to the day that they won it.
I get it.
I mean, Tennessee's going to do the same thing every year and every 5, 10, 15 years, regardless of who wins it. It is funny. Like, weird. Just it is weird. The coincidence and timing is hysterical, quite frankly. Like, Vandy baseball should be posting that, if we're being honest. They should. 10 years after they win a national championship,
it's still
they
weird.
should. But the timing of it is absolutely hilarious. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. I mean, like, Vandy has nothing athletically to brag about right now.
Well, they have the bowling team.
Except for the baseball program being good. I don't think I want Kentucky to be like that. I don't want their fans to be that apathetic. Like, I saw a media member during the mid-state that obviously is a Vanderbilt fan tweet out a graphic that showed Vanderbilt's championship season versus Tennessee's championship season, and their winning percentage was better than Tennessee's current winning percentage, but Tennessee won 60 games. I was like, dude, that's pathetic. That's pathetic, man. It's been a while. Tennessee just won 60 games and won a national championship. You bragging about having a better winning percentage 10 years ago? Really? Like, I want Kentucky fans. I want them to have hope. I want to get their hopes up, man. Oh yeah, this is the year. Look at this recruiting class we signed. Look at this basketball recruiting class, and then lose in the first round. Oh man, this look at this transfer quarterback we got in here. Look at this transfer quarterback. Oh, this the year we're gonna bomb Tennessee. Woo, look, Tennessee, look at us. We're top 10. We started off 7-0 because we played Eastern Michigan and Toledo to start the season. Front-loaded schedule. And then only to lose to Tennessee and be 7-5. I want them to have hope, Ben, and then we crush it. That's better than not having any hope at all, being sorry, being apathetic like Vanderbilt. That's no fun. It's no fun for Tennessee fans. To me, I like crushing them hopes and dreams.
I mean, Kentucky's always going to have hope. It's not. I mean, it is a state university with resources.
They didn't have hope when their football team sucked. They didn't have hope then.
Well, no.
So they didn't always have hope, but they have more hope now, and it's great when Tennessee crushes it. That's all I'm saying.
I feel you. But Kentucky football was also what Tennessee baseball was before the university started to actually care about it. And obviously Kentucky football has not even come close to sniffing what Tennessee baseball is. That goes without being said. But they didn't care about football then. Now they do have hope year in and year out.
Yeah, and I like that they do, because I like when all the all the Kentucky football fans get all hyped about the season. They talk trash to us during the offseason. They didn't do that before. They didn't do that 10 years ago. They didn't do that 20 years ago, but they're doing it now because they got more hope. And I love it, because then when we beat them, it makes them hurt more. Like, I was listening on the way back from Lexington, Kentucky to KSR. Oh, man, the pain in their voices. It was unlike any pain that we've heard from Kentucky football fans in the past. That's what I like. So I don't want them to suck. On the text box, Clay wants them to be bad at everything. I don't want them to be bad at everything. I want them to be good. Good enough to have hope. And then we beat them and they crush. That's what I want.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's how you look at it. If like me being a Yankees fan, like I don't want the Red Sox to be good because I don't want them to be a threat to beat the Yankees. Like I would rather them not be a threat than to have hope. But that's just me as a fan, different than you as a fan.
I understand. Like, how boring is
And what's more miserable, knowing that your team is just awful and you don't have a chance, or having hope and having your hopes dashed? Which is worse?
Not having any hope at all. That's worse, man. Why would, like, all right, Justin from Florida, he's a Red Sox fan. Let's say y'all two are sitting at dinner, hanging out, whatever, and you like, how about them Yankees? And he's like, whatever, I don't care, man. Red Sox stink. They've stunk for the decade. I don't even care about the Red Sox anymore. Dude, it doesn't make it fun. It's not fun anymore. It's boring. Or would you rather have, how about those Yankees? Oh, screw those Yankees, man. We beat y'all last year. We're going to beat you this year because we're better. We just acquired this player. We're going to win it this year. And then what happens? You play in the playoffs, and then you beat them. You beat them to go to the World Series, and you win the World Series. Which feels better, Ben? Crushing that hope. That's what feels better. Crushing that hope. So, Kentucky fans, I want you to feel good about your football team, just like you did last year. Oh, we got Will Levis. Will Levis going to do this. Oh, we got this transfer quarterback from NC State. We're going to do this. Oh, now we got this quarterback from Georgia. We're going to do this. Oh, man, look at our receivers. Oh, look at this offense coordinator. Man, look at our defense. Okay, all right. Only to lose. And then they want to fight after the game. That's when you know they're mad, when they want to fight. When they're making videos, they're in tears after the game because they thought this was the year. Give me that, Ben. Give me that all day. All right, sorry. I need help. The Mafia apparently does too. Because he tweeted or he texted us and says, I got something Kentucky can sniff. That's not nice, Dylan Mafia. That's not nice at all. Todd says Texas just lost one of their top recruits from North Carolina because of them hiring Schlossnagle. He may have been drafted anyway, but he didn't want any part of that coach. Green Axe says, I tell my Vandy friends, I don't hate Vandy. I pity them. I am told that is worse. LOL. See, that's what I'm saying. All right, let's get to the phones. 865-255-03. Good morning.
What's up, champions?
What's up, champion?
It's Rusty out on the West Coast, getting up early for you fellas.
We love it. Thank you.
Yeah, man. I wanted to try to be the tiebreaker. I think there's nothing I hate more than Big Blue Nation. Like, I hate Alabama football. I hate Vanderbilt baseball. I hate Florida pretty much in everything. But just Big Blue Nation as a whole is what I hate the most. And I want them to suffer in obscurity with every ounce of my being. I want them to not have a person in the seats at the grocery store or in the smokehouse that they play basketball in. I want that entire fan base just to be apathetic.
Oh, you want them to be apathetic?
Yeah.
That's boring.
Let me ask you this, Swain. Which hurt more? Tennessee football apathy setting in, or the Georgia loss and South Carolina loss in 23? Coupling those together.
The South Carolina loss and Georgia loss in 22 versus
23 to crushing the hopes of going to the playoffs in Athens and in Columbia, Hendon tearing the ACL.
Yeah, that was in 22.
Those hurt more.
Yeah, those
hurt more
because you have belief.
But the seasons were 10 times more enjoyable than the decade of dysfunction.
To me, it hurts to be the laughing stock of the sport more. than the actual loss.
Kentucky's fans will feel more pain in that last loss of the season during a good season, but they'll have more joy in their life if they're a good program, and I want them to have zero joy. Yes, it'll be less fun for us to taunt them whenever they get knocked out in the Elite Eight or Final Four or whatever, or in basketball or any of those things. It'll be fun. It won't be as fun for us to get to miss it.
I don't get y'all. I don't get it. Rusty.
I want them to suffer.
Rusty,
I want them to suffer.
Rusty and Ben, I want y'all to listen to me. I think I'll make this point. I think y'all gonna understand. Leading up to the big game, it could be in baseball, it could be in basketball, it could be in football. And let's say you encounter a Kentucky fan, and you're like, "Hey, y'all ready for the game this weekend?" That Kentucky fan, if they say, "I don't care, man. Whatever. We're gonna lose anyway. We suck. We're gonna lose. It don't matter." You want that, or do you want? Oh yeah,
I want that.
We gonna beat you.
I want that.
We gonna beat you. We gonna beat you. We
No.
gonna beat you. We gonna beat you. I can't wait to beat you. And then you're able to pull up those receipts. There's nothing like pulling up receipts after they
That's
are
fine.
wrong. It's the receipts.
I want them embarrassed to open their mouth in my presence.
Yes. That to me, it was more miserable to field all those phone calls in 2017. You mentioned it the other day. Al Wilson had to come in and spark some life into the Swain Event family. It was more miserable when everybody was apathetic and you were embarrassed to even mention the words Tennessee football. That to me is much worse than like dealing with a big loss. Because at the end of the day, you know what you could say in 2022? You were still able to turn around and say, well, we won double-digit games. We still won Alabama. Like the program is still in a great, healthy spot. When you're apathetic and you have nothing to look forward to, you're embarrassed and ashamed of who you root for, where you're from, who you like. And to me, that sucks worse than losing a game.
I think the goalposts are moving. I'm talking about Kentucky here. Even when we suck like that, we still beat Kentucky. We still beat them except for one season.
Here's the thing. I get where you're coming from, Jay, because I want Tennessee and Alabama both to be good in football, so it's a top 5 matchup every year. I want us to win every year, but I get where you're coming from because I want that game to be so huge, and then I want us to rip their hearts out because we're two of the best teams in the country. I get that.
Yeah, like 22.
But for Big Blue Nation, it's different. I want them to suck at a level that makes them miserable all the time and everything.
I get that. I get that.
Real quick, Ben, when are we going to expect a visit from Grahovac and Lavalette at least to come see the town?
Yeah, Ben.
They were checking in yesterday.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Evening, they were checking in.
And do we have enough cameras in the stadium if the Kent kid comes to keep them on Jeff at all times?
All right. Ben made a good point because I asked him yesterday. I called him up and asked him, and you know it's serious when I call you up to want to talk baseball. Like I called Ben. I want to hear Ben's voice. I didn't text him. I called him. I dialed all 10 of those digits, and I was like, "Yo, man, what's up? We gonna get in with these players?" And Ben had to remind me, like, Kent, he's good, but like he didn't really start off that good. Like the other players are better, and who knows? Like Tennessee may have better players than Kent, and may be able to get better players than Kent.
I tell you, this,
he batted like 200 all year.
Yeah, he was awesome at the end though.
And that one, like it'll come down to somebody doing their due diligence, like Grahovac and Laviolette. Like you take them in your sleep. You don't have to do any research or well, make sure they're not a knucklehead or somebody that's going to hurt the locker room. Don't take them if that's the case, which they neither one appear to be that type of kid or teammate. But with Kent, like you're going to have to do you're going to watch the tape. What'd you see? Do you feel like he was more of the player that you saw in the tournament or is he more the player that you saw in the first half of the season? But also, if you're Tennessee, you'd rather have Gavin Killen from Louisville, the kid who visited Super Regional Weekend and had been taking some other visits here late. I mean, he's considered the best player in the portal. Well, was prior to yesterday. We'll see if Baseball America bumps him down from that number 1 spot. But Like that kid is the one you want. He's a middle infielder that's absolutely going to get drafted, more of a sure thing. And if you compare him with Dean Curley and Grahovac, and I don't even want to talk about Grahovac in that light just yet because I don't want to get y'all's hopes up and then crush the hopes to Swain's point, I guess.
It's recruiting. It's recruiting. We've all been crushed because a player went somewhere else, but those two kids are studs, man.
They are.
I would take either one of them in a heartbeat. Both of them would be incredible. But can we just say this? The tweet of the week so far has been from Nealon Mafia. I just want to shout him out. The tweet where he said, "I wasn't a Barry Bonds fan until I heard that he punched Jeff Kent."
Oh man, just wait till Kent's evolve. Then we'll change all those opinions. All right, man. Good to hear from you,
Love
Rusty.
y'all.
All right, much love, man. Ben.
Yes.
My math is a little fuzzy, but 43 minutes ago, you tweeted out some news, but you ain't said nothing about it on the program. What's going on with that?
It's not huge.
It's huge to
news.
me. I love Chad.
Yeah, Chad Zerker, as he announced on Instagram last night, while the NBA draft was going on, he posted on Instagram that he is stepping away from the baseball program to work for the university. He's going to be on the business side of things, and this was a really tough decision for Chad. He's known all season long that this was going to be his last season with the baseball team. He has a lovely wife and a newborn that's under a year. I don't know exactly how old Warren is. I want to say he's close to 8-9 months old, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I think they had him right after baseball season last year. I think, but just wants to spend more time with the family. Absolutely adores the baseball program. Loves Tony Vitello. Just simply wants to be able to spend more time with the family. That's all that boils down to. And he received a really, really awesome opportunity on the business side of things with the university, and felt like it was a great professional opportunity, and also allowed him to move into a position that freed him up a little bit more to spend more time with family. That's all that boils down to. And it is a loss for Tennessee baseball. There's no doubt about that. Chad is absolutely adored by everybody over there. The players love him. The coaches love him. Anybody who has ever interacted with Chad Zerker absolutely adore him. He's a South Knoxville kid who went and played baseball at Memphis, arguably the greatest baseball player to ever play at Memphis, has his jersey retired, played a couple of years of minor league baseball before injuries forced him away from the game, and Dave Serrano hired him 9 years ago, so 2 years under Serrano and 7 under Tony, and great professional opportunity for him, and just wants to spend more time with the family. So a loss for Tennessee baseball, but a happy one that you totally understand, and one where you just kind of you put Tennessee baseball to the side and you prioritize Chad's happiness and his family's happiness, and that's the most important thing here. So, I mean, and you saw it a couple of weeks ago. I guess I say a couple of weeks ago. It was Mother's Day. Lord have mercy, that feels like it was yesterday. But Billy Amick left his jersey at the hotel, and Chad had to dash back to the hotel to get it. And Mike Wilson wrote a really cool story on it, and the story blew up. Like, yes, it was an interesting story itself, and Mike did a good job writing it, of course, as Mike always does. But the tweet and the story blew up because everybody loves Chad. And if you just go read through the comments of former players, of people in South Knoxville who grew up with Chad, or people around the university who know Chad and have worked with Chad and things of that nature, just raving comments about him. Not necessarily because of the story, but because of Chad and who Chad is. So it'll be a loss for Tennessee baseball for sure. But at the end of the day, it's just something where you got to be happy for Chad more than you are upset. And that's even too strong of a word to use for Tennessee baseball.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. Yeah, big Chad fan, and glad that he's still going to be with the university. Dog Connect picked 17th to the LA Lakers. Some of y'all that hate the Lakers, what you going to do now? Because you love Dog Connect. You love Dog Connect. Happy for him and his family. I encourage you to go take a look at the video Tennessee basketball Twitter account put out interviewing his parents, talking about Don't Connect and his journey from a kid all the way to today. Go check it out. Tennessee basketball Twitter account. They're all these sports are winning, man. You get them mixed up sometimes. 865-255-03, Swain Event, fueled by Daddy and Barbecue. Don't go anywhere. Be right back.
You're listening to the Swain Event.
And you know this, man.
Here in Knoxville, we love it when a squirrel's in the checkerboards. But when there's a squirrel in our attic, that's all sides. When that happens, call Alpha Wildlife. They're Knoxville's veteran-owned and operated wildlife removal company. When unwanted critters put their feet up on your coffee table, call 865-224-6555. Let the Tennessee fans at Alpha Wildlife evict those unwanted tenants and set your home up with a winning defense to keep that wildlife where it belongs. That's Alpha Wildlife at 865-224-6555. They have locations in Nashville, Memphis, Chattanooga, and in parts of South Carolina. Check them out online at alphawildlife.com.
Fellas, there's a lot of people talking about testosterone, but do your homework and go to a provider that you can trust. I recommend Low T Center. It's where I get my levels checked. At Low T Center, they make it quick and easy. You walk in, take a simple blood test, and you'll get your results back in about 25 minutes. If you've been feeling tired, grumpy, have noticed weight gain, loss of muscle mass, you may have low T levels. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
80 saves you money, like a new 24 Chevy Silverado 1500 Crew Cab. Save with 5.9% APR financing or pre-owned vehicles starting at $19,995. All makes and models at Beatty Chevrolet.
What's up, Swain Event crew? Always happy to be with my friends in the morning. So, everybody has a next chapter in life, right? And sometimes that includes a move. Your next page may have a growing family, or maybe an empty nest, or possibly a move back home. When the time comes, I'll be here to help. Just give me a call. Jennifer Morris, Keller Williams Realty, 865-694-5904, and check out my website, nextmovesmokymountains.com. As always, go Vols!
Looking for a different way to enjoy the show?
Yes!
Then check out Swain Event TV on YouTube.
The Beatty Chevrolet text box is humming this morning. Homeowners, if you like simple, you'll love Hiller because they're making it summer simple for you. Real-time technician tracking. You know exactly when they're on their way, and you can trust that they'll have the best and brightest techs in your home fixing your problem on their first trip out. From now until the 30th of the month, you can enjoy a free service call with work performed or take $25 off any plumbing or electrical repair. Visit happyhealer.com for more details. Ben McKee, Go Vols 247. Back home finally after spending extended time out in Omaha covering Tennessee baseball's national championship run. GBO Rilla on the text box. Good morning, Swain Event and Swain Event listeners. I wanted to speak on this bitter rivalry coming to the SEC between Texas and Texas A&M. I didn't realize the level of hate and savagery there. The Texas meme of A&M mascot Revel, how you say that mascot's name? Whatever. Hitting the portal and committing to Texas was crazy. They hate Texas more than Oklahoma. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that rivalry's serious. You know, A&M was blocking Texas from hitting the SEC for so long, didn't want to play them. It's rough. That's why what Schlossnagle did. A part of me is like, who wants to deal with weird A&M fans? They're just so weird.
Well, who wants to deal with all the hate that he's about to get now?
Well,
I heard I was listening. Well, I saw a clip on Twitter. Billy Lucci, the the big gun in the A&M media for Texags.
Yep.
He said on, I believe it was Feinbaum yesterday, that he believes when Schlossnagle returns to College Station, he said it was next year, next season. So we'll see if it happens next season, but that'll be as juiced up as when Steve Sarkisian and the football team come to College Station this fall. That tells you all you need to know about how A&M feels about the situation. That it is right there. Schlossnagle's return is right there next to the return of A&M and Texas playing in football. And Billy Lucci knows A&M as well as anybody.
Yeah, he should. Yeah.
So that's I may have to put a request in with my boss. Look, I know we have 247 people there, like Texas and Texas A&M, our 247 sites, like they do cover baseball. But can I go, please? Can I go help?
Yeah, that's gonna be next level right there, man. That might be like Alabama Auburn in football.
I mean, it's what Schlossnagle did. I was explaining this to my father-in-law. It would be like Hugh Freeze playing in the national championship game on a Monday, and then the next morning taking the Alabama football job, and then the day after that having a press conference in Tuscaloosa, and coaching throughout the playoffs in December, knowing that he was going to Alabama. That is what it's like, just a different sport.
Who's on the line with going pro, maybe coming back, that may come back for this Tennessee baseball team?
Tavares Tears is gone. He was a redshirt sophomore, so he is 3 years removed from high school. He'll be drafted and drafted highly. Dylan Dreiling will be a draft-eligible sophomore, which means he will be 21 at the time of the draft, a.k.a. he's old for his grade. You have to be 3 years removed from high school or the age of 21, and Dreiling is old for his grade, and he will be drafted highly as well. Billy's gone. Christian Moore's gone. Blake Burke's gone. On the pitching side, A.J. Causey and Aaron Combs are the ones that will have decisions. I would be surprised to see Combs back. And with Causey, like, he has not pitched well the last month or so. At least he has not pitched up to what he was doing during the stretch of the regular season. So I wonder if that changes things for him. But a month ago, I would have told you that Causey is gone as well. Older guy, how much of his stock is he actually going to improve if he comes back? But I guess that's one to technically keep an eye on. And then I get the big one, Swain, is Hunter Inslee. Hunter Inslee is the one that, like, at the beginning of May, I would have told you that there's a really good chance that he is returning. But with the way that he finished the season, he may have played himself into a pro opportunity. I don't know that he'll be drafted highly, but I think that if he wanted to just go ahead and start a new chapter in his life and move on, I think Hunter Inslee will be able to. But Tennessee is a place that means a lot to him. He is a guy that NIL can help stay in school for one more year, potentially, because he's not going to get some big signing bonus, whether he gets drafted late in the draft or signs as an undrafted free agent. So I'm sure that NIL could make that close. So Hunter Inslee is really the main one to watch. I'd put him in tier 1 of watching, and then tier 2 would be like Causey and Combs to pay attention to. The more intriguing one is the high school ranks. Like that's the one where Tennessee and fans are going to have to keep their eyes on. It's just a list of high school guys that they're going to have to pay attention to because the high school class is just so talented. They had 6 players participate at the MLB Draft Combine last week while the College World Series was going on. 6 high school players participate. So the draft, as it pertains to paying attention to how Tennessee is affected will be more along the lines of how it impacts the high school class rather than a couple of guys deciding to return. Hunter Hensley is the big name, but not a ton of names on that list.
Gotcha. The NBA draft last night, it was about Don Connect for Tennessee fans. Waiting, seeing where he was going to be drafted. It's a big shock. You can be disappointed that he didn't get drafted higher. I don't think there's a reason why Don Connect should be disappointed of where he fell. You obviously feel like you're better than the people that were drafted in front of you, and you use that as motivation. But man, what a great place for Don Connect to land. And if you missed watching Don Connect yesterday, you missed Don Connect's drippy outfit during the orange and white game. I was on the sideline, and Dalton was there. This is when Tennessee basketball was hosting a number of recruits, transfers, and I had a chance to talk to Don Connect for about 5 or 10 minutes. And dude, he was so excited about his outfit. He's like, "Hey, just wait, dude. Just wait. I got the lining on the inside, man. I'm gonna show some love and homage to Tennessee. Just wait." And he wasn't lying. So if you're watching Swain Event TV this morning, you can see the inside lining of his jacket as he's being interviewed by Monica McNutt. It is orange with a lot of Tennessee love in that thing, man. Did you watch him get drafted? I was trying to watch. I was trying to keep up with it.
Of course I watched. I wanted to know where Don Connect was going. Yeah. B, I had to follow along for work purposes. So I thought the jacket was real sweet. I thought the shout out for the baseball team was really cool as well. Just a really cool moment. I do hate it for Dalton that he did slide as far as he did, just from the pride standpoint, I guess. Like you want to be a top 5, top 10 pick.
He deserved it.
Right. Absolutely. And you had Jonathan Givony on there saying that he was texting GMs, just baffled why Dalton was sliding. And those GMs said that there's nothing wrong with the medicals. There were no red flags elsewhere. He's just old. And it's something that I've talked about for many, many years on the show when we've talked about the draft, is that the NBA doesn't really go off of, and like the other drafts do it as well, but I think the NBA goes a little overboard with it in terms of drafting players off of age and potential. Like that's all that they want is a young guy with a ton of potential. Then they'll eventually get around to the guys like Dalton who have played in college for a while and can help you most likely quicker than these younger guys can. They just don't prioritize the older guys. They don't. And I think although that is frustrating that Dalton slid just because of how old he is, and I don't think the defense helped him as well. Just in listening to some different NBA media members that I follow, that there's always the conversation of like, you can't hide him defensively. Like he is as it relates to the next level. Like who can he guard? What position can he guard? There's not a single one that. There's not a position that you say he can guard right now. So I think the age was the biggest issue, and then I think you couple that with the defense, and that's why he slid as far as he does. So it does stink from a pride standpoint and just wanting to see Dalton go higher, as high as he deserves, like you said. But with that being said, very much like the conversation we had about Jalen Wright, like, yeah, you didn't get drafted as highly as you would have liked, but you ended up in a really good spot. And I really do think it's a really good spot. And not because LeBron James is on the team or it's the big bad Los Angeles Lakers. I think it's good for Dalton that he can kind of blend in. He doesn't have to be the go-to guy right away. He can just blend in. He can be a piece, and he can just kind of stay out of the limelight. And I know all Lakers players are, the spotlight is always on them, but LeBron, AD, Reeves, Austin Reeves, and those guys, I let them get all the shine, and you just continue to develop, and then eventually LeBron is going to retire, and then you step in and try and lead the way. So I really like the fit. I think JJ Redick. I don't know how he's going to do as an NBA head coach from just the managing personalities on a day-to-day basis. I'm a JJ Redick fan. I enjoy him. I always consume the media that he does, whether it be joining an ESPN show or the podcast that his own podcast, which I listen to quite often. I guess it won't be happening much anymore, if at all. And I really loved what he was doing with LeBron, just from a basketball X's and O's standpoint. So I'll be curious to see how he manages the personalities and whatnot. I think he'll do it well because I think he has an awesome personality. But I do believe that the X's and O's will be just fine with JJ Redick. And like Rob Pelinka was talking last night about how JJ was already drawing up plays for Dalton to run on pin downs and off curls and things of that nature. So JJ Redick is going to take great advantage of Dalton's ability to score the basketball, and I think is a great fit from that standpoint, and also just kind of being able to blend in. Whereas if he would have gone to Charlotte or Portland, Detroit, some of those other teams that were mentioned along with Dalton or tied to Dalton, like he would have been viewed from the jump as a guy like, you got to contribute right now, and like all eyes would have been on him. There would have been a ton of pressure on him, whereas now I don't think there's going to be as much pressure. There's pressure. He's a first round pick, right? They're going to be playing for a championship. There is pressure, but I don't think there's as much pressure when you're a piece of the rotation right now compared to these other first round picks in the top 10 picks or so that are going to be viewed as, oh, you're the number 6 pick and we don't have anything other than you on our roster. You better perform from day one. Dalton's going to have a little leeway there, I think.
Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm just glad that he's in a good spot, and we'll be tuning in. I know that's right.
You jumping off? All right, Meg the Stallion. I know that's right. Are you jumping off the Bulls bandwagon and onto the Lakers?
Bro, I've been stopped messing with the Bulls.
Well, are you officially like declaring yourself as a Lakers guy now?
Nah, I won't say all that, but like, I'm gonna be tuning in to the Lakers a whole lot more than the Bulls. I stopped watching the Bulls. I'm done with the Bulls.
Well, and I wanted to see, like, aside from seeing Dalton go high, I wanted to see him land in a spot that already had a core group of players to where there wouldn't be a lot of pressure on him to produce right away, like I just mentioned.
Yeah,
I would have loved to have seen him in Memphis. I think he would have fit in great. I know everybody's got their stupid jokes about Memphis the city and whatnot, and about how that would have ruined him, ignorant comments. But I thought Dalton being able to play off of Ja, Desmond Bain, Jaren Jackson Jr., I think that would have been a really great situation for him as well. And I think the Lakers are very similar. I was wondering if OKC was going to pick him. I think OKC would have been a really nice fit for him as well. There was another one that I was looking at that I was like, oh, that'd be a great spot for him as well. But I think he landed in a pretty cool situation with the Lakers. And hey, like Jemai tweeted out last night, he can go hang out with the Mayshacks if he gets homesick or needs something. I know Mama Mayshak will take good care of him. And it was pretty cool to hear Not Like Us bumping in the background as Dalton was walking to the stage.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Real D from the 423 says the AR connection is going to be lit. Talking about Austin Reeves. Nelson from Jackson says, Ben, how do you feel about us picking Edie? Oh gosh.
Oof. I mean, I'd be lying to you if I told you that I don't hate it per se, but I don't love it either. I would not have taken Edie, obviously. We did need a center. And I was hoping that they would land Klingon from UConn. I was hoping that they'd trade up and get him. I was disappointed when that did not happen. But we need a center. Steven Adams was hurt, and he got traded. And you needed a big man in the paint so that Jaren Jackson can be out of the paint and go do what he does best. And that's a skilled, athletic big that can play more out on the perimeter and make his way inside to the paint rather than work inside out. He works outside in, and you need a big to play off of Jaren. And I think Zach Edey might be able to do that. We'll see. I'm very curious to see how he translates to the NBA. I am very excited about getting the whistle every game. I think it's a great pick from that standpoint. We're going to get all the calls, and we're going to shoot 80 free throws a game.
This is NBA.
Chess, not checkers, baby.
He ain't getting those calls. This is the NBA.
I know. I also don't like Zach. Like the narrative that Zach Edey was only good because he's 7'4" and can just reach up and drop it in the bucket. That was a stupid narrative.
It's really dumb.
Yeah, you're telling on yourself that you don't know basketball if you think that's why Zach Edey. If you think that's the only reason Zach Edey was good in college, he's fairly skilled for his size, so that does give me hope. But I'd be lying to you if I said I felt great about it. I'm glad they did get a player at a position of need. We absolutely needed a center, so I'm glad they checked off that box. I just wish it would have been Klingon instead of Edey.
Yeah, how about that, man? That's asking you a question. It's not Tennessee football recruiting. How about that?
And hey, like Dalton, he's not going to be looked upon to like carry the load. He can feed off of Jaren, Job, Bain, and everybody else.
It'll be interesting to see how they use him for sure, and how teams attack him.
Jaw's Instagram story was hilarious afterwards.
Yeah, that was a good one, man. That was a good one, man.
I was just glad it was that and not something else on his Instagram story.
I'm glad he wasn't posting about guns. There you go. There you go. Hey, listen, man, if you don't post about guns, cool, man. There's nothing wrong with a person posting their gun. But Ja, you just can't do that right now. You need to just chill out. But that was hilarious about Ja Morant. And man, always easy to root for someone to make a comeback. I think a lot of people are root for Ja Morant to make that comeback. And he will. He's too good not to. All right, for Ben McKee, GoVols 247, I'm Jason Swain. And, man, we hope you have a great rest of your Thursday leading into the weekend. We'll do it again on Tuesday, 8 a.m. Who knows what might happen, what we'll be discussing between now and Tuesday morning. A lot of recruiting happening for football and baseball. Today on Joshua Swain, we'll talk to Rick Barnes around 1 o'clock, 1:15. So,
hopefully he'll be greeted nicely when he calls in.
Well, you never know. We'll be talking to Rick at 1:15. So hearing some great things about Chazanier. We'll get his take on that experience in Omaha. Really cool to see him and the rest of the Tennessee people together cheering on Tony Vitello and this baseball team as they won their championship. Ben, great job as always. We'll do it again in a couple days. Swain Event, fueled by Dead End Barbecue. Peace and much love. We are out.